Alright, we're introducing another one of our equations for lines, and this one is called point-slope form. We have three equations for lines. They are slope-intercept form, point-slope form, which we're looking at right now, and standard form. So with this one, usually you're given 2 points and you have to find the slope, or you're given the slope and a set of coordinates and then you plug them into the formula. So let's take a look at an example and we'll understand more how to do this. My first example is going to be a two-step process because they gave me 2 coordinates, so I need to find the slope. Slope is m. It equals the rise over the run, and in doing this we have 2 coordinates, 2 sets of coordinates, and we find the change in the y's and divide that by the change in the x's. So to start out with this one here, I'm going to take this 11 minus 2. Whoops, didn't write that very well though, did I? So I have 11 minus 2, remember that. And on my bottom, I take my negative 3 from here, minus 0. Well, 11 minus 2 is 9. Negative 3 minus 0 is negative 3. So our slope is going to equal 9 divided by negative 3. A positive number divided by a negative number is a negative number. Alright, we're going to need to use that negative 3 to complete our calculation using the point-slope form, so stay tuned. Alright, in our last step we found the slope, and our slope was negative 3. So now we're going to take this negative 3 and replace the m with it, and then we're going to use these 2 coordinates here and put them into our formula. So let me get started. I'm going to do my y minus 2, that comes from here, equals negative 3, draw your parentheses, times x minus 0. That's your x value. Alright, y minus 2 is still equal to, we're going to use the distributive property, negative 3x, and then negative 3 times 0 is 0, so I don't need to show anything more. Next step is going to be to add 2, because I want to get the y by itself, because we're putting this in slope-intercept form. We're going from this point-slope form to slope-intercept form. So I add my 2 over here, and I want you to think about this. On the left-hand side, my y is left by itself. Here, my terms are unlike. I don't have an x with that 2, so I can't combine them. So I'm going to leave my negative 3x first, and my positive 2 second. And there I've just gone from 2 coordinates to finding the slope, to plugging that slope and one of the coordinates into this point-slope form, and then I put my final equation in slope-intercept form, which is the equation that we use most of the time. Hang on, we're going to do another example. Okay, we have the same thing going on here. We're going to find the slope, and then we're going to plug that into the point-slope form, and then we're going to solve in the point-slope form so that we get our equation in slope-intercept form. Alright, so I'm going to take that, start with here. I'm going to take my negative 10, I'm going to take my 10 first, minus 11, which is going to turn into plus 11, over 10 minus 13. Okay, we're going to do some simplifying. That's going to equal 10 plus 11 is 21. Signs are different here on the bottom, so we got to subtract. 10 and 13 minus 10 is 3, and we keep it the negative 3 because this has the larger absolute value. A positive number divided by a negative number is negative. So 21 divided by negative 3 equals negative 7. We need to remember that that's our slope for the next part of the equation, so stand by. Alright, remember I had my negative 7 was my slope. That's going to replace the m. And then we're going to plug these 2 coordinates into the formula to replace the y sub 2 and the x sub 1. Sorry, I said y sub 2. Alright, you know, I'll show you and then you'll figure out what I'm talking about here. So we start out with y minus 10, and that's this 10 right here, equals negative 7, there's my slope, times the quantity of x minus my x value, x sub 1, which is 10. Alright, starting to do some work then. We still have our y minus 10 on the left hand side is equal to, use the old distributive property, and we have negative 7x. Negative times negative is positive, so now I have plus 70. Alright, last step then, get the y by itself. So we are going to add 10 to both sides. And I'm going to add that 10 right here, where my term is the same. So now I have y equals a negative 7x plus 80. There, my equation is in my useful slope-intercept form. So hang on for 5 more seconds and we'll do a quick review. What I did on this video is I took my slope, and after finding my slope, I plugged it into the point slope form equation, and after I did all my calculations, I ended up in slope-intercept form, which is a very useful form for plotting lines on a graph. Watch this video again as many times as it takes for you to understand and see how we do a problem of this type.